I did see something that you were on a podcast yesterday. You said you think Israel killed Charlie Kirt.
I did not say that.
I
did not say that.
Okay, what was the clip then?
I said, I've never said that.
Okay.
I know a lot of people, including in the Trump administration, who think that. However, there's no proof of that.
Yeah.
What I said was two things. One, I don't know when the command came down and from whom that we have to trust everything federal law enforcement says, but I'm not obeying that. We have a moral obligation to push federal law enforcement to do the job we pay them to do, which is to investigate the crimes fully. And so, for example, if there are people who predicted Charlie's death on Twitter, I think the rest of us can expect that they've been hauled in by the FBI for questioning, and I don't think they have been.
So, I don't know about that, but okay. I do know what what you're talking about, the Discord chats.
No, I'm specifically talking
TikTok.
I'm talking about the Twitter posts that seem to predict Charlie's death. Maybe that
I don't know if that's been investigated. I would love for that to be.
So that's number one. Number two, just because someone is shot by one person doesn't mean others weren't involved. And don't berate me into accepting that assumption, because I would never accept that. Why would I assume that? And three, to tell me that you know the motive before the trial even starts, that he was killed for his views on transgenderism, maybe he was. Maybe it was more complicated than that. How would you know? You don't know. So stop yelling at me to accept a conclusion that you can't prove.
I hear you.
Why would you do that? This is my friend. And by the way, if I was murdered, I would expect people who loved me not to jump to unwarranted conclusions, but to press federal law enforcement to do its freaking job.
Yeah.
And stop calling people names because they're asking you to do your job.
I think a lot of people did jump to unwarranted conclusions.
Maybe.
Though.
I don't know if they're warranted or not.
And, right after the assassination, many people were with big platforms, not you, were saying that Israel was behind it.
Many people with big platforms were saying that he was killed for his views on transgenderism. And we don't know that, actually. We don't know anything.
But Charlie was killed as he was talking about transgender. And this guy, Tyler Robinson, seems to be in love with transgender people.
That may be absolutely true.
For me, and I think a lot of Americans, that seems like the most plausible situation.
But you're never going to catch me saying, because I don't know it, that Tyler Robinson wasn't involved. I'm merely saying to foreclose the possibility that others were involved is irresponsible. And then to attack other people.
Yeah. I'm certainly not here to attack you.
No, you're not doing it. I'm just saying
and
it's interesting, the people who have been, I've been a journalist my entire life. I'm not proud of that because journalism is pretty gross in the way that it's practiced in this country, as you've just proven. I mean, you tell us how fake a lot of this stuff is. And if you're not doing that, then I have a right to ask, why are you not doing that? And if Joe Kent, who until the day he left had highest level security clearance in the Trump administration, if Joe Kent says, hey, I referred these leads to the DOJ and they ignored them and then got mad at me for referring them, what the hell is that? And if no one can answer you other than to call you an anti-Semite, I'm like, that's not a real answer.
Yeah, I don't think Joe is an anti-Semite.
I'm like...
Yeah, I don't think you're an anti-Semite.
I'm not alleging Israel did it. I can't prove that.
But then I guess that is an example of a clip of yours that was being taken out of context.
Israel did it?
That was the message yesterday. And that's what I saw. And so
it's just interesting that, I will say this, it's interesting that all the people who are telling you to shut up and accept a conclusion that hasn't even been reached in a court yet, they're all neocons. So why is that? What is that? Who's running that campaign? Talk about a campaign. And I, as his friend, here's what I want. And I've said it to the folks at Turning Point, who I talk to, who I like in some cases. No, everybody who loved Charlie has an obligation to push for the most rigorous, open-minded, exhaustive criminal investigation possible. And if you're not doing that, why are you not doing that?
That's fair.
And I had this conversation and I called people at the FBI directly, not being paid to do this. I did because I love Charlie Kirk. And it's like, what is this? And they didn't give me a good answer.
Did you see that recently at the court hearing that they're not making Tyler Robinson's lover testify? They're basically giving them spousal privilege.
Yeah, what is that?
That's a great question. And I think Turning Point...
And who's this guy who jumped up and claimed credit for the murder seconds after it happened? Who's that guy who all of a sudden gets busted on kiddie porn charges and we can't talk to him? Well, I don't know what this adds up to, but I know weirdness when I see it. And by the way, is there not footage of Tyler Robinson pulling the trigger? Apparently they say that there is. No one has seen it, who I know, including high-level people who have asked to see it, haven't seen it. Why? I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying, why are you acting like this?
Sure. But I think it's, and I trust you that you weren't saying it was Israel, but some people
I
have,
would just say if I thought that.
definitively said that, and I think that's also reckless. And so
I've said it's Israel? No, I haven't.
I'm not. I trust you that you said. Well, I trust
you
what
can
you're
look the
saying right
clip.
now.
I
Right.
don't.
But
If I had proof there was Israel, I would just say so.
right, people have speculated that though, and have definitively said that. Not you, others. And I think that's reckless and irresponsible, and does a disservice to the investigation. I agree that we should 100%
I mean, the
investigate it.
investigations, the way that it's unfolded has allowed the space for all of the speculation to take place.
Sure.
And that is
Also the new media environment, the new social media ecosystem.
But it's just funny. Everyone's mad at the podcasters for it. It's the podcasters. You've got a freaking Department of Justice that we pay for billions a year that has the right to shoot you. They have unlimited police powers. They can tell you any lie they want, and it's fine. If you lie to them, it's a federal crime. They have all the power.
Yeah.
Therefore, they need all the accountability. That's just like kind of how it works. And no one seems to be mad at the FBI or the Utah state authorities for not answering simple questions about this stuff. And if you can't answer a simple question, maybe there's a good reason. What's that reason? Shut up, anti-Semite. I'm just not going to take that under any circumstances ever.
Well, right now, what it seems like, though, at least in the right-wing media ecosystem, I agree that we should have a thorough investigation.
Yeah.
Half the side, or actually probably more than half the side, says Tyler Robinson did it. And then there's a pocket of the internet that personally 100% says Israel did it. And I think that,
why don't we have the tiebreaker with the DOJ giving us real information on this and answering the question? And I actually called as I told you, I'm going to say it again, I called the FBI highest level. Have you guys interviewed the people who appeared to have foreknowledge? We've got that covered. Have you interviewed them or not? Like this is just a common sense question. Couldn't get an answer. Yeah, Maybe they have.
I saw some TikTok posts the day before Charlie died that basically said, "Oh, Charlie's going to regret coming here," and Discord.
Thank you.
All right. There's kind of a lot to unpack there. I've heard this theory a bunch of times about Charlie Kirt, about they don't think it's Tyler Robinson that did it. They think it was Israel, or they thought it was some government coup. He was killed because of his hate towards people. He said death penalties should be public. They should be quick, and they should be televised. He also talked about kids seeing these public executions at a certain age. He talked about transgender people. He talked about gay people. And for me, I'm just speaking for myself. Like, for me, I'm, people can be whatever they want. It doesn't matter to me. But here's the thing. When you talk about people, you can go down the list. You can go down the years. It don't matter. When you talk about people, talk about sensitive subjects, and you're hurting other people, most of the time that's how it ends. Somebody's going to try to kill you. And that's pretty much what happened with Charlie. I think it was Tyler Robinson that did it. I don't think there was a conspiracy. I don't think it was Israel. I don't think it was the government. I think he did it. I think he felt angry about what Charlie was saying. He was constantly poking people in the ribs. And this is another thing. Everybody always wants to find the seed that he wasn't killed, or he was killed by a certain. You can go down the list. Tupac, Michael Jackson, Elvis, Tupac. They even had, because he was like changed his name to Machiavelli or something like that, and he had like a 7-day theory, and they thought he was going to come back in 7 years, and then they were extending it. Then it was 14, then it was 16 years, and finally they kind of gave it up already. But that's what people were doing. They were saying he was going to come back to life because Machiavelli staged his death. So that's what they were saying. He was alive. He was in Cuba. They said the same thing about Michael Jackson. I still see right now, there's like a guy that looks like Michael Jackson. He's on a bus, and he looks like Michael Jackson, a little bit older, and they're saying it's him. Elvis, they did the same thing with him. You could go to Vegas, and people still think that Elvis is hiding out, and these impersonators of Elvis it's actually him. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you'd be like 100 years old right now. But the thing is like, this is not nothing new. You can do that. With every death, you can find the pocket of clues. and try to stick them together. So that's you could do that with every death. And then as far as getting the death threats online, I'm a small podcaster online on Facebook and Instagram, and really small on YouTube. But on Instagram, and TikTok, they send me death threats all the time, and I'm very, very small. I got less than 100,000 followers, so that's not uncommon. So they want to tie it all together. I get it. Makes for good conversation. Look, Tucker Carlson, he's making money doing it. I get to comment on it, so it's a good talking point. But it is what it is. He was murdered. Tyler Robinson did it. It is what it is. Anyways, like, follow, subscribe, bang that notification. Let's go.